Dr. Shahana Fatima, who's doing her postdoctoral research fellowship in Auburn University, USA, and she's doing her postdoc in poultry science, and she has completed her PhD from University of Georgia, and she's also a veterinarian graduated from Kerala Veterinary and Animal Sciences University, Kerala, India. Actually, I'm happy to host you here in the interview, and welcome to the interview. So we can start the interview with explaining like what's poultry science and also like what are the related subjects which we can pursue in poultry science.
Thank you for the introduction. And moving on to the question, in poultry science, we have different aspects that we deal with the infectious diseases or food safety or welfare associated with poultry. So I did my PhD in nutritional immunology, which is basically doing research in the nutritional aspects of poultry feed that can alter the immune response of the birds to the infection models. And I specifically dealt with arginine, use of arginine in necrotic enteritis. Our lab also have done research in using probiotics, prebiotics, and other immune modulatory compounds during infections with different pathogens such as Clostridium perfringens, Salmonella, Campylobacter, etc. And we also have done research in chitosan nanoparticle-derived vaccines against Salmonella. And recently we are conducting research for Salmonella in layer birds. So that is what our lab do. So there are also other kind of sub areas within the poultry science, and some other areas that are of interest are regarding the food safety related to the poultry products. So they don't really deal with the infection models, but rather they kind of try to reduce the load of infectious agents like foodborne infections in poultry products, raw products that come to us, and they try to develop methods to reduce those pathogens in the products that we get. Also, there are other areas such as machine learning that can monitor the behaviors of the birds, such as pecking, and it is AI based, and they train and develop programs that can monitor the bird behavior. There is research on bird welfare, which actually deals with the improving the welfare aspect of poultry rearing, kind of like if the breeding rearing the birds on floor pens is better or cages is better, or does it make a difference if they have a perch, those kind of aspects. And also I think that covers most of the areas in poultry. And yeah.
Okay, that sounds interesting. And is there anything related to meat? Like, meat science is just the meat science and poultry science go sometimes hand in hand, right? So, is there an area which specifically involves like poultry meat, like, doing research on quality? Yeah, I think like some of the area which you have mentioned, like, welfare also affects like the quality of meat at some point. I think like there are researches in that regard too, right? So, so is there like a specific area like where like, is the meat science like similar to poultry science?
I wouldn't say that we study into the deeper components, but I have seen research like improving the tenderness and those kind of aspects of poultry, and kind of reducing the conditions such as woody breast, which can reduce the quality of the poultry meat. But I think the meat science aspect is much more deeper than what we do. I also think it depends on the professors and like institutions. So yeah, like the poultry science department in UGA, I have not worked with viruses in UGA because I think most of the viral part was dealt with another department called PDRC, which is the Poultry Diagnostic Research Center. So in our department, to my knowledge, I haven't seen anyone working with viruses. But when I moved to Auburn, now I'm working with viruses, and it is common here to work with viruses. So I think it also depends on the professors and the university, their regulations, things like that.
Okay. Yeah, so I think like the Department of Meat Science would be a different department rather than the
Yeah.
poultry science.
We coordinate more with the food safety department. We have collaborated more with the food safety department than the meat science department. So the meat science, I think they are with in UGA, they are with the animal science department, and they mostly have dealt with, I have seen them dealing with the pig and cattle. And there
Okay.
might be research they are doing on poultry, but I'm not aware of that.
Okay. Oh no, that's okay. Okay. So poultry science was under veterinary science, in or like general science. Because I asked this question because like if a person who is not a veterinarian want to pursue like a PhD in poultry science, what should they do?
The general poultry science department in UGA doesn't come under the veterinary. But if you need to do a research in PDRC, as I told earlier, the Poultry Diagnostic Research Center, then you need to be a veterinary resident, like in poultry avian pathology residency. The residency things comes under the veterinary. So yeah, those come under the vet school. And in poultry science department where I did PhD, you necessarily doesn't need to be a veterinarian to do PhD there. But yeah, because we are not treating them, we are mostly like doing necropsy and things like that. We are not doing any treatments. So yeah, and the requirements, I think it will vary between the universities and things like that. For when I was joining the university for PhD, they required the IELTS and GRE scores, and definitely the CV. But I think now mostly people prefer doing a research prior to applying to a program. But when
Mhm.
I applied, I didn't have any experience with research. And I actually applied for a master's program. And after like 6 months into my course, my professors wished me to PhD. So that's how I got into direct PhD. So you can also do that.
So yeah, I'll finish this question. I'll just, I have some continuation questions from the answers you have given. So yeah, I know for sure, like I think in Canada and US they have like undergraduate degree for 4 years, right? Their undergraduate degree is 4 years. So if somebody who wish to come from India or some other parts who has like undergraduate degree 3 years, they won't get admitted like into a PhD or masters there, right? So they have to do something like an additional, maybe like a masters, finish masters, like if you are like a person who's done like bachelor's in poultry science, and it's just 3 years maximum in India. So is it always better to do a masters and then just go and directly apply for a PhD there? Because in US, North America, they don't need like a master's for doing a PhD, right?
Yeah. But I think if you have a bachelor's in poultry science, then I will say it's better to have a master's in poultry science before applying here, because then you will have some research or things to show. But
Mhm.
since we have the veterinary background and we are more used to the things like in the farm environment, I think they give a concession for us. Uh,
Yeah, I think we are on a safer side because our degree is 5 years, like five
yeah,
and a half years, and then we are applying for it. So we are on a safer side. We are completing that 4 years mark of bachelor's, and also like, and we have that,
internships.
yeah,
Yeah.
intern and also poultry experience, like whatever it, in vet science, it's always good if we just finish like a 5 years, like, or like that degree like 6 years in your home country and then move to North America, right? You don't have to do a master's in order to do a PhD. So is it always like when you apply, you have to apply for a master's and then switch to PhD, or you can directly apply for a PhD?
I think you can directly apply for a PhD, especially if you have research experience as an undergraduate. But it depends always on the professor that you are applying to. So when I applied, my professor told he is not comfortable taking me uh, directly as a PhD student because I didn't have any research experience. But he told if like I can apply for masters. So I applied for masters, got in there, and I had a good progress in my masters. Like within like 8 months, I got a paper published, and he was impressed with my progress. So he asked me if I want to switch to PhD, and I accepted it and switched to PhD. Yeah, so it need not be always like you can directly switch to PhD, but there was another person who joined with me for masters, but he didn't get switched to PhD. So it depends on the person, professor, and yourself how you are making the progress.
Okay. Yeah, I think like most of the professors, like I think they always want you to start with the masters, and they'll watch you like how well you're doing with the research, like how independently you're working in their lab space and stuff like that. And if they are impressed, they'll just want you to switch. They'll ask you. Otherwise, it's like even if we ask, they'll be like, okay, you know, you should try maybe like little more and then you can apply later or something like that, right?
They might usually say that after you finish the masters, you can continue PhD in my lab. They might say that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay. And I know you have work experience like in Alliance, right? And you
Mhm.
had like taken a 3 years gap before applying for PhD, right? Like before going to University of Georgia. So how did you manage to construct the CV? Most of the people who's watching this might know, like, you need to find a supervisors, because I have already made some videos regarding that. You
Mhm.
have to find a supervisor in order to do a PhD or masters in North America. So then this for this interview, I want to ask, like, how did you like structured your CV, and also how did you structured your email when you applied for different supervisors from different universities?
The thing is, I think I took like 2 years gap, and I was applying throughout that phase almost. Um, and in between that, it was like I graduated in 2019. So that's just before COVID. So in December, the COVID hit, and it was the universities were almost everywhere it was closed and no one was taking students. So the professors kind of understood that it is closed almost, like they were also kind of struggling with things. And yeah, and then I worked for like an NGO that was for um, animal birth control. And then I moved to Alliance, where I worked as subject matter expert. And the reason to pick that job is because I would get more time to concentrate on applying to jobs. So I will get a salary that I can use for like applying to universities. You need to spend some money for the application, getting the I-20 and things like that. It is kind of little bit expensive. So I got that money from the job.
This
So
I-20.
I-20 is like a document that kind of authorizes me to enter the United States as a student.
Oh,
So
okay.
without I-20, I cannot enter the United States even if I have a valid F1 visa. So
Okay.
I always need to show the I-20 to the immigration officers when I land in the United States to show that I am a student here. So they will
So you
check them.
I-20 even before you applied for the university?
No,
Oh,
after applying to the university and I get accepted, they will issue the I-20.
oh,
So
okay.
they will send us a hard copy, so we have to pay for it. And we will have to get the I-20 to actually start the process officially. Regarding the CV, I just put in like the experiences that I gained through the internships, and I took poultry rearing as the entrepreneurship course in veterinary science. So I put those experiences in there, and also in India I used to have a poultry farm. So we were also I was also managing that. Like make the CV very complicated. I just put in my what are skills I had. Obviously, I didn't have any research experience, so the technical skills was on the weak side. But the thing is that I have to convince the professors that I have a genuine interest in conducting research. So I kind of succeeded in that, and I was interested in conducting research and gaining experience. So the thing is, when I email the professors, I will go through the website, the university website. There, the professors will have a personal kind of not personal website. It's like their page in the university's department page. So I used to go through that and see what the research interests are. And also I used to go to their Google Scholar or ResearchGate pages to see what they are currently working on. And I used to draft the emails according to that. Like I used to tailor my cover letter or the email body according to what research they are working on, and kind of blending my experience and my interest according to that, and how convincing them how I would be a good fit in their lab in conducting the research. So yeah, that gained me 2 interviews, like around almost it took 1 year. Like I think it's also because of the COVID. So by February 2021 I had 2 offers, and then I decided to go with University of Georgia. And yeah,
So for prepping the emails, what we need is a covering letter and then a short CV, right? CV, covering letter, CV, and a structured email.
also recommend adding the transcript if it's available. It was not available to me. So I actually got my transcript after getting the acceptance. So since it was also the COVID time, the university, we pushed our convocation. Although we graduated in 2019, then I had to go there and get it in person after getting accepted. And it was hard to travel at that time. And yeah, that's why I couldn't
Yeah.
add my transcript.
Oh, yeah.
But if it is
Yeah.
available, I would recommend adding that.
Okay. Okay. So CV, sorry, covering letter, CV, and transcript, and
Yeah.
a structured email. So what did you actually included in the email?
In the email, I think when I am approaching the professors by email, I usually don't attach cover letter for that. Only if I see, like, if I see and see a post requesting the cover letter, I attach the cover letter. Otherwise, I just put the things that I intend to say in the cover letter in the body of the email. But I don't keep it very long, like explaining how I will be just letting them know that I'm interested, and if they have an opening, definitely they will reach back to me. So yeah, I would give them enough to let them know that I'm interested and I'm a good fit, but I don't keep it very long. And definitely the professors won't read through every line of that, or if it is too long, they won't even try to read it. So you have to keep it interesting and short.
Yeah, so simple, short, and like very maybe like catchy, right? Like so whatever is important should be at the first, and whatever is not necessary
The
should be at
professors
the
should get an idea that you know what you are talking about. You know that what you are going to do. Like if someone is doing research on nutritional immunology and you are talking about food safety and processing, then the professor will get an idea that she have no idea about what I am researching on. So don't do that.
Yeah, okay. So it's always better to go and read through their articles before you even email them, right? Start emailing them. Okay, so that's a better idea. Okay, so yeah, I think like it's pretty much clear how to send emails. I think that's the major questions like which we get, like how to send the emails, how to structure them, what are the things which need to be sent along with the email and stuff like that. I think it's almost clear. Yeah, like I think like I would say like you can always like take all your maybe from your undergrad all the achievements and then see like okay this can fit in here, like yeah, attending conferences, if you have something, if for example for yours, in your case it's poultry science, so if you had some poultry conferences which you have gone to, which also helps, right? And yeah, so I think like something related to that can actually like blend in, which shows your interest in the research, something like that. What are the career opportunities after doing poultry science, like after doing a master's or a PhD in poultry science, what are the career options?
I would say there is more opportunities after a master's than after doing a PhD. After masters, you have more flexibility. Kind of after PhD, you are like pretty much stuck into an area of research. So after masters, either you can go for a PhD. Like if you are totally into that research area, like even if it is poultry or regardless of which research it is, like if you want to change the area of your focus, then that is the time to change the area of focus. After masters, you can even switch to translational medicine or PhD or whatever you want to. But after PhD, it is almost going to be the same that you are going to working on. And also after masters, there is more industry opportunities because definitely after that masters, the industry are mostly looking for masters because definitely the masters will have a lower salary range,
Yeah.
and also um, they will almost have all the technical skills that they want. So they wouldn't need an expert. They might not be looking for an expert, but yeah, the masters will be for the industry. Also, it would be helpful if you do an internship or co-op uh, during the masters to get into the industry. So after PhD, you can either do postdoc if you want to get into the academia. But now I think even if you want to go to the industry, you have to do postdoc because even in for the industry um position they are posting, we can see that there should be at least like 3 or 4 years of experience as a postdoc or like research experience. They count the research experience as an experience.
So yeah, as like in industry means like as a subject matter, like an expert scientist, right? It will be like a
Yeah.
posting for scientists rather
Mm-hmm.
than like for a technical post. Like I totally get that. Like after a master's, they just have all the skills what they need to
Yeah.
work. For a PhD, they have to pay more, so they prefer masters. But after PhD, then it will be like a post for scientists who
Yeah, it will
actually
be mostly senior scientist roles. So
like,
you need an experience as a postdoc for that. So it wouldn't be mostly an entry level position. So we need to be more, we need to develop that skills like the experimental design, writing a grant and things, acquiring funding, those kind of skills during the PhD and postdoc to apply for an industrial job after that.
yeah, once like either it's like masters or it's then directly to postdoc, right? There is no intermediate. Okay, so it's always better we have options after masters if you do, if you doesn't want to focus on research, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so
Yeah,
after
most of
post.
the people, I think, I didn't know like how it is to research before coming here. Like
Mhm.
in veterinary, like we did the clinical things, but I didn't have any exposure to the research. I used to write the case notes and things like that, but I didn't know what actually the actual research is. So I think masters is a good time to decide if you want to stay in the research or you just want to get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like yeah, most of the people I don't think they want to stick to the lab. At least like from those who are veterinarians who come here always wants to do some clinical works. And it's not the case like most of the time. You won't get to even see an animal. It's just like all lab work, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, if you doesn't want to do it, I think like yeah, finish it up really quick and then just do something else, which actually maybe like involving both field and the research if you're interested in both, right? Yeah. So
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
know people who are doing like who are clearing NAVLE while doing masters here, but it also depends on the lab work, the PI, and things like that. But that is also an option. If you just want to get into the US, clear the NAVLE while you are here, you can also do a masters.
Yeah, that's actually nice. Yeah, but you will get like a degree, and along with that, you can finish your
Yeah, you will have an plan B if you don't clear the NAVLE.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah. So, how hard was it for you, or how easy was it for you to get into a postdoc after doing a PhD there? I know like it's difficult for like somebody from India after finishing their PhD to get into a postdoc. It's somewhat difficult. So how hard or like how easy was it? Like after completing your PhD there and getting into a postdoc.
Um, that depends on the research area. For me, I fortunately had came across the email from the professor here, like that was sent to our department, and it was even before my defense. I got my offer for the position here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that, but I searched for like 6 months. But I wouldn't say that I put my everything into that search because I was obviously busy with my defense and things like that. I was writing my thesis, and so the searching job was secondary for me. So
Okay.
yeah, so I mostly tried to contact the professors that were reaching out to the university for
Postdocs. Okay.
postdocs and things like that. Yeah.
What is the salary range you're expecting for a postdoc?
That also depends on the university, the place where you are living, and things like that. Around this area, you can expect like in the south, mostly it's around like 60K per year. But if you go to California, New York, 60K wouldn't even be enough for you to survive. But here, I can rent a single apartment and things like that for 60K. It is because the living expense is very low here. So the university pays you according to the living expense and obviously your skills. This is my first
Mm-hmm.
postdoc, and so yeah,
Oh,
it also depends on your skills and experience. Yeah.
okay. And so for a PhD, I know for masters they in US they don't provide stipend, right? So they provide stipend for PhD only, or how
No,
how how does?
for poultry science, they provide stipend for master students also. Yeah,
Oh,
if you apply directly, I'm not sure about it, but if you contact a professor, they will accept you only if they have a funding. So if you contact a professor, if there is no funding, they will tell you that. I know people who self-finance and do the masters in poultry science. There were people, but if you reach out to a professor, they will definitely let you know if they have funding or not. So I
oh,
was
okay.
paid stipend when I was doing masters because yeah, obviously my professor had funding and he already told me that he is going to, and there is also a tuition waiver, so you don't have
Mhm.
to pay all of your tuition fees.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah. So actually, I was in a mindset that they don't provide stipend for masters. Like even if you are doing research, so if you enrolled as a masters, they won't provide you stipend. It's just for the PhD. Maybe like it's different for different departments and the professors
Yes,
or something.
for computer science, I think they don't because I have seen them working. There is also so much in-campus opportunities for working. You can work for like 20 hours a week, and that should take care of the expenses. And also, you can do like research assistantships or teaching assistantships. I did teaching assistantships during the last 2 semesters, and it actually paid more than my actual stipend.
Okay, okay, that's nice. Yeah, and yeah, you don't like for but how is it in US? Like for stipend, will they tax you for your stipend?
Yes.
Stipend.
we have to file taxes, but and they will pay you back some of that, but not all. But there isn't like much tax on that. I wouldn't say they take a lot of tax on that, but yeah, we
Yeah,
have
for
it is
teaching
taxable.
teaching assistantship, I think like they'll tax, right? For here in Canada, so they won't tax you for the stipend. You will get the entire amount of the stipend. So if you're working as a teaching assistant, or some other jobs in university itself, then you will it's a job, right? And you are earning, and you will be taxed, and you will be given like after cut off, you will be given the amount, whatever is left.
Mhm.
And then when you file the tax, because our income from the stipend is considered zero, like your income is zero, you will get most of the what is taken from you, so it will be returned to us. So I thought like stipend is at least in Canada it's not taxed, so for in US it's taxed.
Yes, it is taxable.
Okay, okay. And so there is a lot of difference between Canada and US. So I
Yes.
think, yeah. Okay, it's good to know all those. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like I have asked pretty much everything, like what actually everybody want to know. And do you want to add something to it? Like advice?
I would say, like, if you're coming for masters, it is good that you have it is you have plenty of opportunities here. That is good. And if you're coming for PhD, then you need to see your future for a long term, like what you're going to do after that, and things like that. And also the university, the professor, all those things matters a lot if you're doing PhD, because it is going to be a long time and it is not an easy journey. For masters, it doesn't affect that much. It is like 1.5 at most 2 years. So it is better, like easier for you to manage, but yeah, it depends on what you ultimately want.
Okay. Yeah, I think, and also like here at maybe in North America, I have seen like so many students, like graduate from undergrad and then work and then go to masters. Maybe they'll just take a break again, then go for work, and then they decide like what to do. So it's like here everything is chill a little bit in terms of career, fixing their career. But back in India, like it's like, okay, after doing undergrad, you're right away going doing your masters, or right away you're going to do your PhD. You have to decide right away, or it's like, or else the society will be like, what are you doing, what are you doing? Or like, okay,
Yeah.
so
the-
person
Yeah.
trust you, like marriage, career, kids, like, yeah. So I think like,
Yeah,
yeah,
there
in
is more flexibility here. Like you can even do a master's, work for a few years, and if you figure out that research is what you actually wanted, you can come back to PhD and do things like that. Like, and if you're doing like that, then you will have more financial stability during PhD. You don't have to worry about the stipend and things like that. You will have a savings from the job that you were doing. Yeah, it's good, and you don't have the pressure for marriage here. Maybe there might be pressure from India, the parents calling and things like that, but here you can see like everyone being chill. No one is pressurizing you, no one even asks like how you're doing. Actually, like there might be like people will smile at you, just there are no deep talks. Like in India, if you step out of the house, there will be neighbors and people asking you like what happened. Like when I was in India, that was the biggest problem I faced, and my parents gave me an ultimatum like either you get married or go abroad. So that's when I actually kind of like switched and tried to apply to everything that I was kind of trying
oh,
to get an admission. So uh, and my parents, I wouldn't blame my parents because my father was kind of chill, but my mom was under too much pressure from the neighbors. They were asking, like, since I was working at Alliance and during COVID, they switched to work from home. So I was at home all the time, and neighbors were seeing me and they were like, she finished her course 2 years back, and what is she doing at home? Why she is not being married off, and things like that. So I understand that they are being pressurized and they were putting that pressure on me. So yeah, so it
I
is
think
chill to be here.
society, yeah, I think the society is just structured like that. Yeah, even when I wanted to come, the first thing they said was, like, my father wasn't happy. I think, like, it's not like about getting marriage or anything. Like, he didn't want me to. I was the only daughter, so they didn't want me to go very far. And then just, they were worried, like, how will I do alone, like, in an unknown country, like, that's there. And yeah, so I think, like,
Also, I think the movies. Also, I think the movies have influenced the kind of the people in India, like how they see the American countries, like the America or Canada, like they think that everything here is party and lights and
yeah.
things like that. So they think
Yeah.
that it's all enjoyment and things like that here, that there is no real relationships or connections here.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
like, yeah, it depends upon the person too, like, how, I don't think, like, if you are a researcher you will have time for all those,
I
you
didn't have any time. I don't
yeah.
even have friends to that point. All my friends, even now, my friends are my colleagues or my lab mates from my last lab, and here too. Like even on weekend, I am sitting at home chilling with my dog, watching movies. So that's my kind of chilling.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think, like, I even remember, like, from my, like, when I was doing research, I was the only person, like, even my supervisor wasn't taking too many students. There was one PhD student and my master student, that was me. And I had a bond with my PhD. She was also from India. So yeah, that's it. That's the only friend I had. And when she left, I was the only person roaming around in that lab like a ghost. So it's like only me, then going home, like, just that, like, the life is kind of like horrible at that point. When you're doing research, it's so stressful too. Yeah, when you're planning to come here, you have to be prepared for all that too, like,
Yes, I
just think.
understand. I
Yeah.
survived my PhD because of a cat. I have even acknowledged him in my thesis. To that point, he was very helpful for.
Oh, so
He was
sweet.
my emotional support. It was very stressful, really stressful. Like I
Yeah.
got a lot of illnesses during my PhD, like because of the stress. I gained a lot of weight. I got diabetic and things like that because to stay up at all night and work and read things and during the comprehensive exams, things like that. It was very stressful. So I just there was a lot of stress and anxiety, and that was affecting my health a lot. And that is another side of being here and things like that. At home, you always have your parents or relatives to rely on for everything, but here you have to survive on your own. There will be homesickness, definitely, but
Yeah.
you came here for something. So at that time, you won't think all that. You will be like, I just want to go back home. But definitely, you tried very hard to get here, so it will always get better.
Yeah, so yeah, I know, like, it's good, right? Yeah, and also, like, whoever who's planning to come here, some people is like, come here and just want to come here, come abroad, or like in North America. So just whatever way it takes, they just come here, and after coming here, it's very hard for them to tackle everything. So I think, yeah, before making that decision, you should always, like, think of all this thing. Especially graduate studies in North America is not that easy. It's very stressful, and also, like, the professors are, like, behind you, like, every day or every time, like, asking for results, and, like, your maybe, like, even research papers towards the end, like review paper or so many other stuffs. And there will be, I think, time to time lab meetings. You will have to update them what you are doing so far. So it's not that easy. So whoever is planning to come here always should make sure, like, you are prepared for all this too, right? Yeah.
And
And
definitely the people here, like the natives, Americans or Canadians, they always have an edge with us. Like they most of the undergrads start their research even in the during the undergrad because have undergrads working in our lab. So they have that edge with us. So
yes,
we
always.
have to be more competitive. So we have to work really hard to
Mhm.
be on par with them. So we need to work very, very, really, really hard, and I mean it. Yeah, so it's not very easy to get here, and I have seen people getting disappointed seeing the university settings, and like I had even people said to me like, I didn't imagine America like this. Where is the tall buildings? Where is the lights? Where is party? But it is like that here in the University of Georgia or Auburn University. The both of these are like in very kind of, I would say, suburban areas, or like there isn't much like what you see. It is not like what you see America in the movies. There is a
Yeah.
downtown. There are some shops where you can shop. Nothing more than that.
New York, when we think of America, it's like New York, California. It's not like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
will be very hard to live there. Like, but yeah, if you come here to study, then this is fine for you. But if you come to get that American dream, then you will be disappointed because
Okay.
it's hard even to survive like on the stipend. So you wouldn't have much to spend on the parties or anything like that, and you wouldn't have the time to. So you after the lab work and everything, you might just need to lie down.
Oh, yeah. So, and how much is a stipend for masters and PhD for poultry science?
That too will depend on the university. I don't know if I can say that, but yeah, for masters, I would say like around 1,500, and for PhD around 1,800, 900. That's
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think.
So on the program too, like for food science, I think it was almost the same, but for plant science, for PhD, it was more than 2,000. So yeah, for animal science, vet science, if it is infectious disease and things like that, then it would be over 2,000.
Okay. Yeah, it
But
depends upon the supervisor, the university, and how much
not much
funding.
on the supervisor, uh, mostly on the department. Like if it is poultry science or vet science, food
Mhm.
science, things like the department might be because within the department, I know that everyone in our department used to get the same stipend because they didn't want a difference between the students and
Oh, okay.
things. So I think there wouldn't be much difference. Also, if you have funding from the industry, like when
Mhm.
you are doing a residency or things like that, then you will get a decent stipend.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, because they are giving you funding and you will get like
Yeah,
enough
then
money.
it is not from the professors fund. You mostly we get the stipend from the grants, like the USDA grants and things like that. So that is kind of limited, and so the stipend is also kind of monthly fixed. Yeah. Also, sometimes you can get paid more if you have a teaching assistantships, or if you can also apply for external funding, like to different industries that can offer scholarship at times. Depending on your research area, there might be some um, industries that are interested in conducting researches, so you might get paid according to that too.
Yeah, so it was good to have chat with you, Dr. Shahana, and thank you for sharing your valuable insights. And yeah, thank you for doing this interview. It was fun.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.